Order the regular governing board meeting of the Jefferson Elementary School District, April 24th, 2013 at 7:03. And can we get members present?
Hans Hansen.
Here.
Rebecca Douglas. Marie Brizuela.
Here.
Joseph Otaidi.
Here.
Shaquille Ali.
Here. And now we will have Pledge of Allegiance from one brave student, from Susan B. Anthony.
Please rise and face the flag. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Mr. Ali, I think there was some miscommunication in terms of the time for the students to be here. So if we would do the special presentation after the communication section, I think they should all be here for that.
All right, sounds great. I only have 3 certificates for some reason.
We'll do it after.
All right, can we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And so you want to move that until?
Yes, let's move it
After
after communication.
communication. All right, communications. And I'll just reiterate that this portion of the agenda is available for individuals to comment on or address the board on any issue that is under the board's jurisdiction and not on the agenda. The board may not discuss or comment on any items in this section. The maximum time allowed for any speaker is usually 3 minutes. Do we have any comments from any administrator?
Yes, I just want to let the board know that there was this Multicultural Family Literacy and Health Day on Saturday, April 13th, and it was the largest turnout yet. Their goal was 1,000, and they reached over 1,000 members, people that signed in, and a lot of volunteers did not sign in, so we were well over 1,000. So the people that organized the event were really excited. Jessica Pace and Pat Boehm and countless volunteers. So it was a wonderful event, and we were really pleased with the turnout.
Great.
I have a little financial update. First off, I'd like to say that last Friday, Superintendent Vidalis and I presented to Moody's and Standard & Poor's credit agencies the district's history of management, board, community support for Measure I, as well as the district's financial position. And today, Moody's published their rating for the district at a AA2, which is the highest rating that they give revenue limit districts. So we should be very proud of that. Standards & Poor's has not yet released their rating for us. We do hope that that will be favorable as well, and that will allow us to get better rates when we issue our bonds, so that our taxpayers will pay a smaller amount because we'll be able to have a lower interest rate on those bonds. Additionally, our cash flow situation is steady and strong, and should we require at the end of the year to do any borrowing of funds from a different fund, we would be coming to you with a resolution, so you would be well aware of that. I do want to point out that it is common for the cafeteria fund to have a resolution to borrow funds, only because the free and reduced lunch reimbursements that come from the state and the federal governments are behind. They're not behind, but because we have to get in the information, the monies don't come in until the following school year for the last month or two. So that would not be unusual. That's a common occurrence. Also, I'd like to just report out that developer fees for the month of March were received for $7,741.51 for a total of the year so far of school year. $111,621 were received. The budget originally started at $80,000, and now we have revised it to be about $120,000 for anticipated developers' fees. And perhaps another significant item is that the state Senate Democrats have released their alternate proposal to the local control funding formula that the governor has proposed. Theirs will be State Bill 69. The major three parts, the base grant, they intend to do it the same way that the governor did it, a per-pupil base grant that differentiated the rate of revenues to school districts based on grade span. This would also eliminate the revenue limit as we know it. It's supposed to be simpler. We'll find out if that happens. The supplemental grant, where the governor had 35% additional funds for students that were low income, or actually students with economically disadvantaged. They would also do that, but instead of having it as being unrestricted, it would be restricted for the purposes of those students. We would also be required to show the student performance has increased to the standards that they set. As for the concentration grant, which was an additional amount that was put on for English learners as well as foster youth and low-income students, the state Senate Democrats proposed to eliminate that type of funding and move those funds into the base grant, so increasing the base and the supplemental grant. So given this, I would expect that if this revised version that the Senate is proposing, the Democrat Senate is proposing, we would receive less funds than the way the governor originally planned it. But of course, more funds than the way we're currently budgeting for next year with a 1.65% COLA. There will be a modification to the schedule of implementation, and as I said, more accountability and permanent flexibility for what's considered the categorical programs at this point.
I just want to say how nice it was to attend the Literacy Multicultural Day last Saturday, and to just see such a great family event in our city was wonderful. And thank the students for their performances. There's nothing like seeing preschoolers come up and perform for you, and also the staff and volunteers who made it such a great event.
All right. Comments from any board member? Mr. Hanson? Nope. Ms. Brizuela?
Well, just wanted to kind of report on something. I think you all heard that General Pershing is going to be having work done by Rebuilding Together, and it's actually a project that my husband's one of the guys in charge there. And they're building planter boxes so they teach the children about growing vegetables and stuff. And then they took down a tree that really needed to come down. And they're doing a lot of stuff, but the most important thing they're going to be doing, and it may not come by the end of the 27th of April when everyone does the rebuilding, probably come a couple of weeks later will be a ramp, handicap ramp that really needs to give better access to the families going into the school. So, and that's all being done by outside funds, which is wonderful, and all volunteer labor. So just wanted to say it's going really well today. They worked on it all this week, in fact. And then the big day will be on the Saturday. I also wanted to mention that a member of our community, Paul Huff, who has been here a long time, he was an attorney and a Daly City Council person. Actually was, I think, a temporary city manager and city attorney, and ended up being a judge in the Sunnydale courts. Anyway, he passed away, and I thought it'd be nice to close the meeting in his memory. He did a lot for the community, as well as the schools and everything. And also, we had Leo Pedretti, who was also who passed away, and he was on the South San Francisco Unified School District, and on the member of the county. On several committees down there as well. And worked in the schools and did a lot for our children. And at one time, South City Schools did a lot of partnering with our Daly City Schools. I'd like to recognize him also, and he passed away. Seems that's all I'm hearing lately. But someone that's been very dear to Daly City Colma is Elio Fontana, who also passed away, and he owns the monument, the Fontana Monument establishment that's over on Mission. And he was on the high school board, as well as the county community college district and the San Mateo County Board of Education as well. And he served in so many different things, and many things that you see in Daly City, monuments or things that they've done. He's the one that did all the monuments for him. He's really a wonderful person. But one thing, I think I've said it before to some people, but I'll say it again. Everybody wonders where they got the name Westmore when they named the high school. He lived in Broadmoor Village, was proud of it at the time. He was on the school board. And when the school board, as you know, we get together and we try to decide what to name a new school. And he said, I got an idea. He said, let's call it Westmore. West for Westlake, where a lot of the children were coming from, and more for Broadmoor, because they're all coming to the school too. So he put it together. And so I thought that was kind of neat. I didn't know that for years, and I finally found out. So if anybody wonders, I know I asked some of the students one time at Westmore, how do you think they named the school? Oh, after Westmore Avenue. No, I think that came after. But anyway, so he was 93 years old, and will be missed by the community. So I'd like to add his name to closing the meeting. And with that, I wish I could tell you someone was just born, but that's all I know right now.
So tidy.
Two things to talk about. I want to talk about the power of business and education working together. Daly City Colma Chamber of Commerce has put together the Daly City Colma Education Fund, which has been around for more than 20 years. It started with a $2,500 endowment from the Sarles family and has grown to $40,000 in distributions in the most recent year. The scholarships goes to freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors, and they are having a pledge drive for 2013 access to higher education. The donor listing will be closing on April 29th, so I want to encourage everybody, even if it's $1, even if it's 50 cents, it all helps to give the ladders of opportunity to our children. In this fiscal environment, in the evisceration of public education, in these talks that we're going through right now, it stems all the way from the state, down to the county, down to the city. And on that point, you could send letters or look for information. You could send checks to DC Colma Education Foundation, 355 Gaylord Boulevard, Suite 138, Daly City, California, 94015, or you could call 650-755-3900. Attention, Georgette Searles. Once again, I want to thank her for working with the community, businesses, and education to provide opportunities for our children. Second, I want to talk about the opportunity to vote and how the metrics are done in the business of voting and campaigns. Each person, each head count per election, per dollar spent in campaigns is given a dollar per vote metric. Meaning, if someone spends $1 million and only one person votes, that vote is worth $1 million. However, what's interesting, in North County, which has a very low voter turnout population, the votes don't really cost that much because no one votes and there's no impact. Why? Because of the at-large district elections that we have in San Mateo, they have finally changed. North County will now have significant influence on how county supervisor elections go, and a significant portion of money. Now, though our money comes from the state, we also get money from the county. Now, we talk about salaries, we talk about many things that cost money. Here is your chance to vote to make sure that money comes to your kids, to your pocket, to your district, to everything else. Basically, money is the lifeblood of many, many things, even family homes. There will be, because of a lawsuit that was done 3 years ago, we now have a chance to have supervisor elections in North County, which we will be voting for our own district supervisor by district elections. How those lines are going to be cut is going to be dependent on people, how they participate. If you live in this district, if you live in this area, and you do not want to be your vote diluted again, so then resources, albeit money, services, or anything else, get diverted somewhere else where you're paying taxes for. I know politics is boring. I know this is boring. But when it comes to your money, that is not boring. Fight for it. I'll fight with you. I'll be right next to you. There's going to be 10 meetings held, 5 in North County, 5 in South County, regarding how these district lines are going to be done. We have redone how the game is played in San Mateo. North County, our area, can now fight for more money. We have more representation. Yes, we could talk about what's interesting on this topic today, but you want to talk about what's more interesting, real power to get your money back into your pocket, resources and services back into your pocket. This year, there will be 10 meetings. I highly suggest that we all go. I will drive. I will go with you. Call me. 415-789-6609. otaide@gmail.com. OTAYDE@gmail.com. Let's fight for our rights. Let's fight for our community. Let's fight for our district. Let's get services, money, and resources back to our children to give them the ladders of opportunity so then they could take it to the next level. Thank you.
All right. And I'll just add that we have our governance handbook that we compiled at our retreat. And I just want to highlight just the vision that we have for the district, which is Jefferson Elementary School District, in partnership with the community, will be recognized at the local, state, and national level as a model for excellence in academics, arts, and the sciences. And I'm just reading that tonight because we actually do have a school that recently got recognized as a California Distinguished School, which is Fernando. And just also want to thank all the volunteers because I did attend the Literacy Day and Health Fair. And also, I stopped by General Pershing and saw some of the great construction work that was going on there. So I want to just say thanks to all of our volunteers.
Mr. Ali, we have exhausted the time set aside for this. How many speaker cards do you have on this?
I think about 5 or 6.
I might suggest that maybe 2 minutes per speaker.
2 minutes per speaker? All right. So, yeah.
And if any of the speakers could wait to the end of the meeting, that would be fine as well. We do have some business to take care of and a hard stop at the end, so we'll try to make time at the end.
So do we need to?
I think the kids are here.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
let's
are.
go back to item 1, 2. One special presentation.
Do you want to do that after the
Let's do the special presentation.
special presentation, then we'll continue.
The kids first.
Are they all here?
Here, I think. Is she? There's the principal. The kids not here?
So we're going to do our special presentation at this moment. We have students and staff here from Susan B. Anthony School that are going to be presenting and talking about a life skills program that they've been implementing in their school certainly this last year and for years before as well.
Here they come.
My name is Miranda La Cruz, and I am Susan B. Anthony Student Council President. Hello, my name is Elena Gonzalez, and I am the Vice President of the Student Council Body present. Hi, my name is Princess Sanchez, and I am the Student Council Secretary.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Nelson, and I am the treasurer of Susan B. Anthony.
Today we would like to talk to you about our life skills and how we use them. First, I would like to tell you what life skills are and how we use them at our school. Students and teachers at Susan B. Anthony have a common goal, and that is to create the best possible learning environment so we can all be successful, not only academically but also in life. The road to our success at SBA is paved with the life skills which define who we are and how we face our daily challenges. We define our behavior and expectations for ourselves by specifically giving a name to our actions and thoughts, whether it's using caring and friendship to help each other, effort and perseverance when learning something new and difficult, or working together to problem solve. The life skills we learn will now benefit us the rest of our lives. Now I would like to talk to you about my favorite life skill, courage. One reason courage is important is that without courage, there will be no teamwork. Teamwork requires its own brand of courage. It takes courage to think clearly under pressure when others may not concur with our ideas and goals. Here are 3 examples of courage. It takes courage to tell the truth even though there may be unpleasant consequences. It also takes courage to befriend a classmate that others may ignore, tease, or attack with put-downs. Lastly, it takes courage to learn something new, such as a new hobby, sport, or skill. I like to use courage in my everyday life. Thank you.
In our school, Susan B. Anthony, we believe that using our life skills is very important. Every single week, Mrs. Burke, our principal, gives Lobo to a child who shows his or her life skills. My favorite life skill is effort. There are many reasons why effort is important. One reason why effort is important because using effort is vital to helping us work through hard times and difficult situations. When the bills are larger than our paycheck, when family and friend obligations pile up, or when schoolwork becomes overwhelming, effort will pull us through. By following a strong work ethic and never giving in to failure, we can prevail. There are also many ways to show effort. Like for example, you can volunteer for classroom job assignments. You can also choose to participate in activities for lifelong learning. Another way to show effort is to keep practicing a sport until you are satisfied with your skill level. There are many more ways to show effort. I hope you use effort every day. Thank you. Today I'm going to share with you the life skill of cooperation. There are 3 reasons why cooperation is important, but I chose my favorite one. 2 heads are better than 1. Working with at least one other person enriches the experience base for shared discussion making, conflict resolution, and lifelong learning. Working together is a necessary skill at home, at school, and in the workplace. And here is 3 examples of cooperation. Communicate and share resources to achieve a common goal. Find a way to work things out when you and others do not agree. And lastly, take turns when more than one person wants to do something at the same time. Thank you.
Hi, I have chosen a life skill to talk about with you. The life skill I have chosen is pride. Now I will talk to you about pride. There are 3 reasons why pride is important, but I will only tell you the most important one. By developing the life skill of pride, our self-esteem, self-image, and self-confidence are kind-led. Pride increases our motivation and productivity. We realize that we can gain knowledge and understanding from doing a job well done. Now, here are 3 examples of how you can demonstrate pride. 1 is accepting compliments and acknowledgments with grace. The second is to feel good about a job well done. The last example is to recognize friends who are doing their personal best. I am glad you gave us your time to explain about our life skills. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions about life skills?
I would love to have a copy of that. It was beautifully presented. So, Mrs. Burke, if I can get a copy, I would love it.
I'll just give you a copy.
Okay.
And I'd like to say that they were on time, but I got the time wrong, so I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay. We saved the best for last.
No harm, no foul.
So you wrote this, and you say it's implementing in the school. So you're using all these skills, and are you passing it on to others as well?
Yes.
That's good. That's good.
Any questions?
No questions, but just that was awesome. With your generation, this is going to be on video. Look at this years from now, when you guys hit student government at Berkeley and at Stanford and all those beautiful places. When you guys sit up here and beyond, continue on with that courage. Continue on with that work ethic, which was effort. Continue on with that cooperation, and continue on with that pride and self-confidence. Really, that's people look for a secret formula to life. That's it. You guys got it. I wish I knew that when I was your age, but now that you do, take it here and beyond. Very good.
And we admire your courage.
Yeah. And your effort and your pride. No, everything. It was great. Thank you so much for
Thanks.
coming.
Keep up the good work. A lot of us up here and in this room are educators, but we got a full education tonight, and I'll be reflecting on these notes this evening, actually. So thank you.
And thank you, Mrs. Burke, for coming.
Yes, and I'd like to thank the students for coming and sharing with us. Don't leave just yet. I believe there are some certificates. Or Ms. Burke, did you want to add something? Why don't you come up here so you can be on camera? You don't get to escape the camera.
We have an art gallery walk through on Friday, and all of our students in the whole school have made art pieces from recycled materials, and it's on display on Friday, and I'd love to invite you to come to the school anytime between 8:25 and 3 just to see all their artwork, and that will be this Friday on the 26th to honor Monday, April 22nd, Earth Day. And thank you for having our students. And again, I apologize for us being tardy.
Oh, no. It's okay. Okay, don't go yet.
Congratulations to Brianne Delacruz. Thank you very much.
Elena Gonzalez.
Nicholas Nelson.
Princess Sanchez.
You guys want to turn around for the photo opportunity? I love you guys.
All right, so we have several speakers cards. So do we need to make any adjustments to turn it into the 2 minutes per speaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll just make maximum of 2 minutes per speaker, and hopefully less. And I would just ask any speakers, if a previous speaker has already made a point that you're making, you don't have to repeat it. You can just say ditto and make a new point. Thank you.
All right, so the first speaker is Anushka Takla, teacher. Am I supposed to read the title?
Good evening, community, Daly City community. My name's Anushka Takla. I'm a third grade teacher at MH Tobias, a mother of 3 daughters, and a proud member of AFT Local 3267. At the board meeting on April 10th, I heard for the first time that our school district budget surplus is at about 30%. The state of California requires school districts to hold a 3% budget surplus for emergency purposes. School Services, a fiscally conservative advisory committee, recommends that school districts in the state of California hold a 17% budget surplus. Our budget surplus is 13% over the most conservative recommendation. For the past 7 years, we have heard dire predictions about the status of our budget. We have cut school programs and cut jobs. We've had no raises and taken furlough days. For many of the past several years, our district has had a budget surplus at the end of each calendar year. Given the fact that the governor's budget projections predict that for the next 3 years there will be an increase in funding in school districts, arguments for maintaining such a deep surplus simply make no sense. The time is now to release surplus funds and reinvest in the Jefferson Elementary School District student body, reinvest in music, computer labs, and libraries. The time is now to release the funds to reinvest in teachers and support staff, the professionals that educate and challenge the minds of the next generation of professionals. And the time is now to have Checker, a coalition of management and labor, review our health benefits budget and make an independent recommendation on how we can reduce our health care spending without reducing the quality of our benefits. The time is now to start negotiating transparently and collaboratively. And I raced through that because I timed it for 3 minutes. I didn't expect to go for 2.
You did good.
Thank you.
All right, Ron Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. I was glad to hear tonight you say that the district wants to have a goal to make the district a model of excellency, because we once had a reputation for that. So I've told this story before, but I don't think I could tell it enough. Some 14 years ago, when I was in the credential program at San Francisco State, the buzz among all of the soon-to-be teachers was that Jefferson Elementary was the best school district to work for in the area. It was said that Jefferson paid the highest salary around because they only wanted the best teachers possible. It was said that it was hard to get hired by Jefferson because no one ever wanted to leave and because the district was so selective. Jefferson had a reputation for caring about the students' education and for caring about the teachers. So I put my time in as a sub, made an impression, and was finally hired here full time. I'm sad to report that this is no longer the situation in our district. Of all the districts in San Mateo, we are now near the bottom when it comes to pay level. And when compared to districts with comparable ADA, we are in last place. The last time I had a student teacher in my classroom, I couldn't even talk him into putting in an application in our district. He put in applications in other districts and was hired further on down the peninsula. I want to see our district regain the reputation that it once had. The reputation as the best district in the area to work for, and as you said earlier, to be a model of excellency. And there's no reason why it can't happen. We have the funds. We need to put the good of the students first by restoring lost programs and supporting teachers with a fair wage. Thank you.
Matthew McKay.
Hi, greetings.
Greetings.
Okay. As much as I wanted to talk to you about raises, which, by the way, we don't just want, we need, my raises go to Kaiser. You see, I have a family, and my family rates are beyond high. They are astronomical and climbing towards catastrophic levels. I've been thinking quite a bit now about how to manage health care costs. I've thought about looking into having my 18-year-old high school senior get his own insurance next year. Maybe it will be cheaper for us to help him pay for it. I don't know. But then I went to dinner at a restaurant last Friday night. I brought the leftovers home for my 18-year-old son. It was a fish dish without peanuts, so we thought. Shortly after he began eating, he began to display characteristics of an allergic reaction, but not just any reaction, an anaphylactic reaction. Trivia: only 2% of the world population has anaphylaxis at some point in their lives. More trivia: the price of potentially life-saving allergy injections has spiked. We use the EpiPen. Most folks have referred to the emergency room, which is also another healthcare cost. I cannot even consider having my son removed with this potentially life-threatening condition. Thanks to the Affordable Health Care Act, I can keep my son on my health insurance until he is 26. No thanks to the Affordable Health Care Act. It will likely be unaffordable for me. I've been researching anaphylaxis for years, and following Sunday night's episode, I got online again. I found an article that might be of interest for our district. I have only one copy, which I will give to our superintendent. It offers a free EpiPen auto-injectors to schools nationwide. I realize that money is an issue, and I want to address that as well. I just heard a report that due to income tax collection, California could potentially have a budget surplus. Governor Brown told legislatures not to get too excited about the surplus. Apparently, due to Prop 98, K through 12 schools could get some, if not all, of the money. When in negotiations, please consider families. Please do something worthwhile and long-term to alleviate the incredible health care costs have on district employees whose families depend on their health care costs. And I have an article that I heard from NPR. This was yesterday's, and this was today's, and this is one for everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Melinda Dart.
Okay. Hi, Melinda Dart, AFT 3267. I will keep it short in the interest of letting others speak, but I've been talking to a lot of parents lately, and I did talk to a parent last night whose concern is personal attention for his student at school, that is one-on-one time with the teacher. And it made me think that the way things are today, one-on-one time with the teacher gets rarer and rarer and more difficult to include. And teachers do try to, of course, speak with every kid every day, but in upper grades, when you have 32 plus, 35 sometimes, it is difficult. And I think we need to remember, and I was glad to hear the comments about stopping the evisceration of public education. As you know, I work to support education, public education constantly, but within too, we need to stop the erosion within of our programs. We need to recognize the fact that teachers are where the education is happening, that students and the student-teacher relationship is all important. Our parents want that, right? They want that for their kids. They want that personal connection. They want that time to have attention. And we have to remember not to raise class size in spite of it becoming flexible or a categorical. It's important to the parents in our community. And regarding Checker, which was brought up, and that is the organization that helps look at healthcare plans and make sure that they're affordable. I'm happy to report that I heard that there is a scheduled Checker Module 5, it's called, for September 18th at the JPA that we will all be invited to. So hopefully you'll find out about it too, and hopefully it's for real, but that's what I've been told from the Checker folks. So, and that would be great if we can find solutions to healthcare in the future and work together on that. But meanwhile, we will probably need to do some kind of short-term fix for another year in order to stop the, the high rates that come out of people's pockets monthly. Thank you.
We have 2 minutes left, and we have 3 speakers. We might need one speaker to go at the end, if that's all right.
If it's only one, let's do it.
Let's just do it.
All right. So Liz O'Neill.
No, you're saying to keep these to the
Well, we
end?
have 3, but
Yeah, let them do it.
Good evening. My name is Liz O'Neill. I am a teacher at Marjorie Tobias and also a proud union member of AFT 3267. I would like to address you about 6th grade in elementary school. 6th grade belongs with middle school, not in elementary school. This is the perfect time with the Common Core standards to have school sites and teachers focus on the standards for their own grade levels. 6th grade at K6 are often in splits. They don't. There will be with 5th grade teachers. They don't have single subject teachers. They will not have science and social studies every day. This is a detriment to these sixth grade students who need science and who need social study every day, and it just doesn't happen at an elementary school, especially when they are with split classes. It's physically impossible to do. Also, sixth graders can't get a full middle school experience without being in a middle school. If they're at an elementary school, they don't have that transition year of acclimating to the middle school. They don't have that transition year, and they really need that. K-6 classrooms are not equipped for the larger sixth graders. In fact, a classroom today just said, the kids said that they feel cramped. They don't have room. They physically don't have room. In regards to parents being upset because they don't want their children to be going to a middle school in sixth grade, parents are upset now because their fifth graders will be staying at a K-6 instead of being able to go to the middle school. They don't have room. So there's always going to be someone that is upset. We need to do what is right for our students, what we know is right for our students, and that is sending them to a middle school where they have the education that they deserve. And again, especially with core standards. May I just ask a very quick question? I'm just concerned with the 2 minutes. I see the reasoning, but with the communications, were you guys under the 2 minutes as well? I've never been to a meeting, so I'm just wondering. You announced communications, but many of you spoke for far more than 2 minutes, and we're cut off at 2 minutes. So I'm just wondering about the protocol for that. Thank you.
Dean Conroy.
Good evening. I'm Jean Conroy. I'm a third grade teacher at Marjorie Tobias School and a proud member of AFT 3267. Tonight I wanted to talk about our support and lack of it. We have watched our academic support disappear over the years, yet we continue to instruct students with a multitude of academic and social needs. We have done this without the support of our reading specialist, computer teacher, accessible behavior and inclusion specialists. Our only remaining resource is our Learning Center teacher, who is now half-time. This leaves less time to serve the already identified students and virtually no time to support classroom teachers and addressing the growing needs of the special needs in our classes and making early interventions for those students before they are tested, if that is needed. I made a few notes as I was listening today. We talk about need as below grade level or struggling students or those who just have very different learning abilities. But those needs are also for students who need extra challenge. We now absorb GATE students into our classrooms and spend so much time on the more needy students because we have to, that we don't have time to give any or as the needed enrichment for those who would flourish with that. I ask you to reinstate a full-time learning center teacher to all schools to support the high quality education for all students. Secondarily, I've been asked to bring to the attention of the board the need for an increase in substitute pay. We need to attract and retain enough quality substitute teachers. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Johnson, did you want to speak again?
That's okay. I can wait.
All right. Do we have any correspondence?
That's no more speakers.
No.
All right. Superintendent comments.
Just two brief ones. I just want to acknowledge to the board and to the members of the public that today schools and departments across the district celebrated Administrative Professionals Day. Administrative professionals were acknowledged at their different sites and department settings. And also wanted to thank teachers and members of the public who came to here today to provide perspective to the board, and appreciate the words that were spoken.
General functions, and we need, there's an amendment that needs to be made to the consent agenda.
Yes. So prior to approving consent agenda, just would like to make a note that item 7 under general functions, Memorandum of Understanding North County Collaborative 2013-2014, needs to include a Burlingame School District in the list of districts that are listed there. It was not there until recently, and so just want to let you know that they will be joining the collaborative and be a part of the cost-saving practice that we have in the North County.
All right, that's good. So do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the amendment?
I'll make a motion we approve the consent agenda with the addition to general functions item 7 to include Burlingame.
All right, and we have,
Second.
thanks. We have resolutions on here, so this requires a roll call vote.
Mr. Hanson.
Aye.
Mrs. Brizuela.
Aye.
Mr. Otaidi.
Aye.
Mr. Ali.
Aye. Number 6, resolution number 13-04-24D for Classified Employees Week.
Did you skip number 4?
Yeah, sorry.
Why don't we do number 4 first?
All right, first things first. Number 4, resolution number 13-04-24B, resolution to lay off.
And although it's predicted that, our economy and our funding is going to increase, we do have some decreases in funding, and administration does need to recommend that the board take action on this resolution to reduce or eliminate some classified services. The school site council at John F. Kennedy's determined that they do not have, that they have insufficient site money to continue to fund 2 positions for next school year. These positions will be vacant at the end of the year because of retirements, but that's 1 bilingual aid position, a 3-hour bilingual aid, and a 5-hour instructional technician.
So that's not all of them here? It's just 2 of them?
Yes, there's these 2.
Do we have a motion?
Can I ask a question? Do we have funds that we can use? I mean, if the site council doesn't have the funds, do we have funds that we could use to help the support staff continue? I mean, dollar-wise, what is the cost?
That could be an item that we could bring to the board for further discussion at another time. But we can always do everything we want. We can't do. I mean, we can do anything we want. We can't do everything we want, and so it may require some adjustments other places. But we can bring that for further discussion. So these have been categorically funded. Mostly, I think these are Title I funded, and Title I funds have been reduced as part of the federal sequestration of funds.
Okay. I just heard a really nice report a few minutes ago that we're in good shape. We're doing real well. We got AA plus 2 or something like that. And so I'm just saying, these jobs are part-time jobs, aren't they?
One's a 3-hour position, one's a 5-hour position.
Okay, so the 3-hour position, there's no benefits. That's easy.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just talking. So I think I know that 3-hour positions don't get benefits. 5-hour, yes, they probably do. But these seem to be positions that our children can use. So if I'm not getting dollar amounts, and you can't really tell me for sure if we could do it out of the extra money we have, I would like to see us not take action on this until we get that information. Because we start laying off and laying off and laying off, what's going to happen? I know you said that they're retiring or something, they're leaving. Are they retiring because they already know that the site council already voted that they don't want to do this? Let's face it, it's the word's out there.
I believe they retired prior to the site council making their decision.
Yes, they did.
They did, thank you. Just want to make sure I got it. Okay, but how will this affect the children?
There are services that can be provided in different ways. The sites have had to prioritize how they're spending their funding, and it is the school site's decision as to how they spend these particular funds. They need to be voted on by the site council.
Okay. but I'm asking as an education organization, without these positions, what will happen to the services that the children were probably getting through these positions, and how will that service be delivered? You maybe can't answer that right now, but I feel like I need more information to be sure that if I vote, we're not laying off people, actually. We're doing away with the position, which I feel is a lot worse, because once you do away with the position, sometimes it doesn't come back. And it seems that's what we're doing a lot. If we have extra funds, and this is not an exorbitant amount of money, can we bring it back and look at it and let the board decide if we wish to fund it? That's all.
I have a question for you, though, Ms. Brizuela.
Yes.
If we do this for this particular situation, would this open up that every time a school site council makes a decision, then we're going to double, we're going to ask if we have the money to supplement what they've lost?
No, I'm listening to a lot of people talking about that we're not giving the services as much as we should to the children, that we're taking away services that can help even the teachers get along in their positions and do better. And I can't tell you, am I going to bring it? School site council looks at the amount of money and they can decide how to spend it. But we're the school board, and we're looking at every child and how can they be serviced. I just want to bring this as a viable discussion on this board and get some actual data behind it. If we don't start at a little step, we're never going to get anywhere.
I agree with that. However, when we get the agenda sent to us, we should ask these questions beforehand.
I'm asking it now in public meeting. I listen to the wants of the teachers. I've listened to the wants of parents on the outside. This is my place to speak and ask my questions, not on the telephone ahead of time.
All right. Well, time is expired for this. Any other?
So, no, I just want to mention, I'm not certain about this school in particular. I know other schools have restructured how they provide services, and so they've determined some positions do not fit the way that they want to provide services to needy students. Other positions that they create do. And so there's just a shuffling around of funds from one position to another to provide greater flexibility and greater opportunity for success for students. And so I'm not certain about this school. I can't speak to the school. I have spoken to other members of site councils from other schools who've done it differently. So right now we do have this resolution to be looked at by the board, and if there's no other comments, then you could call the question.
May I ask one question, administration? Regardless if we vote on this now, it can always come back, because we obviously know that the people that are in the position are retiring anyway. So it can come back once you can give us the information. That I'm looking for is how will these services be given to the students that obviously were needed at one time. I just need some backup. Okay? And I think that I'm asking for it. I think everybody probably should receive the same information.
So do we have a motion to table, or what do I hear?
Well, the site council determined that they don't need these, which means they may need others. So I think we should go along with what they wanted, because they're on site.
All right.
And it's their school. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the resolution number 4.
Any seconds?
It's with a heavy heart that I say second, but it's another example of brothers and sisters shouldn't fight for funding just to get money from mom and dad. We should be working together and go to Sacramento and get this money. And I trust the process, and I trust the site administration for looking over what their immediate needs are. So I would like to second the motion.
All right. This is a resolution, so we need a roll call vote.
Mr. Hanson?
Aye.
Dr. Douglas?
I'd like to abstain since I missed most of the debate.
Mrs. Brizuela?
I'm going to vote no and preface it by saying that I only ask that I get more information. If school site council may look at what their needs are at that school, and they only have so much money to spend. I'm not asking to deny what they said. I'm asking, can we still provide enough service for our students there by dipping into our enormous amount of revenue we have. At least that's what was presented tonight. So,
No, the revenue that we have, that enormous amount, is not in cash. The state owes it to us. We don't have it in the bank.
we have a reserve already.
We should finish the vote.
Mr. Otaidi?
Aye.
Mr. Ali?
Aye. Number 6, resolution number 13-04-24D, Classified Employees Week.
Yes, as has been the case at the last board meetings, we've been bringing resolutions to the board to acknowledge the efforts and the presence of many different classes of employees. And Classified Employees Week is the week of May 19th through 25th, and so the administration recommends that the board pass a resolution that would acknowledge the efforts and the presence of these members on our school sites and the services they provide.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 13-04-240, Classified Employees Week, designating the week of May the 19th through the 25th as Classified Employees Week, and to commend the efforts of all of our classified employees.
I will second that motion.
I'll third that.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Hanson?
Aye.
Dr. Douglas?
Aye.
Mrs. Brizuela?
Aye.
Mr. Otaidi?
Aye.
Mr. Ali?
Aye. And number 8, board meeting video recordings.
Okay, so this is an item that at least one occasion, and I believe on 2 occasions, at least one member of the board, perhaps 2, brought a request asking that something like this be brought to the board for consideration. Over the last course of several months, on and off, I and some staff members have been looking into different options for being able to display our board meetings online in an easily accessible space for the public. And we have a recommendation that, not a recommendation, we have a proposition for a service that many of you know as YouTube. Many school districts, city councils, if you look over to the right, sometimes you can see similar ones. This one doesn't show it, but earlier I saw other school districts have their school boards meetings posted there. So we have, there's some precedent there. It's free, it's accessible, and if you want to do something more extensive, we can go to a paid service, but this would at least get them online. We have a brief segment of a video that for you to watch. This is one of our, when our students spoke about the science project that she was working on. So if you wanted to see how easy this is to access, if Ms. McCulick, you can go ahead and start.
Was wind power.
Wind power.
And she's here.
All right.
And I think our support staff in the back needs to
Amanda's was
up
how to
the
make a shaver
microphone,
last longer.
speakers.
Shaver?
A shape.
Oh,
We need that one.
Can you publish that one?
So do the students want to come and say a few words that went countywide? Is that all right? To talk about their project?
Not prepared.
Power? Yeah.
Well, she's going to come. She's going to come. All right.
Good evening.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about the project?
Okay. For my project, I noticed how shavers were so expensive, and yet they didn't last long. My father and my uncle told me this. They only lasted in a matter of like 2 to 3 nights. So I wanted to help them save money and other users too. And so I was thinking of possibilities that made shavers have a quick demise, and I thought that it was rust because people rinse the shavers in water, and therefore that makes rust in the steel. So I tried to find ways to prevent the oxidation process in the razors.
So that gives you a
To do
flavor, and
this,
Ms.
I
Mikulik, you
use
can pause now.
user-friendly and
that gives you a flavor of the kind of access that could be made available should the board decide to utilize something like this, if not this particular service. So this is an opportunity for the board to discuss this and then provide direction to administration on this issue.
All right, thanks, Mr. Vidalens. Do we have any deliberation?
If we do this, we should all have hearing aids.
Yeah.
I think if you're listening, if you're watching it from home on your own, you can get the volume up a little easier to hear that.
No, but you have to change it constantly. Because some people are closer to the microphone
than others.
Yeah, that's true.
I assume that's going to be a problem no matter what method we use to publicize or air the meetings.
Unless they have a clip-on mic.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the? How do they do that? How does it work with YouTube?
So YouTube is a service that catalogs and stores videos uploaded by users across the world. You set up a, we have the meetings on a DVD in a digital format, and we are able to set up an account and then upload these videos into that account so that anybody who has access to the link at the very top, and we would be able to post that link on copies of our minutes and our summary board actions so that members of the public can review, when they review our minutes, can also review the actual proceedings of the meeting.
So is that because people don't have now access to our, don't we already do it on the computer ourselves? Don't we have it online?
No.
Our minutes are online.
Yes.
The proceedings, the video of the proceedings are not online.
Right. Okay, so is this a savings? We don't have to pay somebody if we get that free service?
This is a free service, correct?
No, but it's not eliminating anything that we're paying for now.
All right. Do you have any comments or questions, Mr. Otaidi?
Yes.
How much?
Brought this up when one of the first times I sat on the seat. In terms of public discourse with government, this is like landing on the moon, and it's free. It's easy. More kids know how to use YouTube than they know how to use their parents' cell phone. It could get them engaged, get everybody engaged, and hold accountability to everybody. It's not that hard, not that expensive. I mean, and if it really gets that bad, I will load it to YouTube. I'm not kidding. I mean, like, I will get, I'll jump in there. But basically, it's more transparency, more accountability, and basically, it's just good government. Getting what we say, what other people say, and keeping us on track so things don't fall through the cracks. And maybe for historical purposes, like the kids who were talking about being from Susan B. Anthony. I just ran into some people, and they were talking about when they were in high school, they were presidents of their student body, and it was Michael Nevin, Georgette Sarles, Leland Yee, and there was another person. But if you look at them, they have continued since they have been in high school to this day as public servants and community leaders. Those are going to be one of the upsides of putting all this information and historical data on YouTube.
All right. Any other deliberation before we make a vote?
It seems like an extremely easy way to, as Mr. Reddy says, increase our transparency and visibility. I see no problem with it.
All right.
Would it mean that we will no longer be here? We do it a one-on-one link?
That's what I was trying to ask. No.
No.
We're still going to be here. Still cost
Still got
us.
to be videoed.
So it's not saving us money. It's just getting something
historical.
else. I don't know. I've always worried about YouTube. Can anybody get it and distort it and send things out like they shouldn't?
No, the only thing they would be able to share is with whatever we do here.
You can't edit somebody
You can't
else.
edit.
Whatever
anything.
happens here.
You can't take pieces of it and.
You can make comments, but we can disable that function.
No. I mean,
That's the only thing.
can
that-
somebody take it? Because I worry about the children that come too. Can
Well-
anybody take that and use it for their own
I don't think so, but also
Areas per
this is we're already we're televising live right now, so it's already open to everyone. And after that, these meetings are recorded on DVD, and anyone can come pay $1 and borrow the DVD. This is just a quicker and faster way to get it out to the public. That's all this is.
There is one thing you can do with YouTube, though. They have a program that's free, so that you can download the video to your own computer and save it for posterity.
That's true.
If it was worth saving.
Right. Well, parents of children who've come and spoken to us might like to be able to do that.
Well, they can also get it, yeah. Okay, well, I mean, I just hear things about YouTube that I'm not too crazy about.
That's good to have.
But they can save it to their computer. You know, the whole video.
Yeah.
And so they can watch it anytime. And then they can save it on their hard
Oh,
drive.
for the parents, that'd be wonderful for the
Yes.
parents. I don't mean that.
Right.
I'm talking about these other goofy guys that are out
Oh.
there.
Okay.
So would that mean that we would need to tell all the parents that it's going to be on YouTube so that they can, you have to have some release form that
yeah,
the
of
kids are
course.
being,
I mean,
because I wouldn't want anybody to come back and be angry with us.
No,
Because you're not supposed to.
even for them to be here,
Yeah.
they have to have that form
Okay.
signed.
Yeah, because we
are broadcasting.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, just looking for the safety of kids.
I appreciate that. Any more deliberation? All right, do we have a motion?
I will move that we proceed to upload our meeting videos to YouTube, if that's the appropriate motion to make for what you're.
What is the motion? What I would like actually to know is, do we do it from here forward? Would you like, how far back would you like us to go? Back to December? Back to the beginning of the?
I would start as of today. We're making the motion
From
today.
here forward?
I'd
All
say
right.
from
here
this
on.
time forward. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the consensus that we'll start. I'll make the motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I move that we approve to record our videos and broadcast them on YouTube, thinking safety in mind.
Starting with.
Starting today.
Effective today.
Right, effective this evening. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? One opposed?
I said aye.
All right.
But a very weak eye.
A
'Cause
little squeaky eye.
I just hope it works right.
All
That's
right, we'll work it out.
Okay.
So
And
unanimous.
they're not going to change it and have us in bathing suits or something?
I don't think that anybody can edit anybody else's YouTube posting.
Yeah.
Is that?
I don't know. I'm asking.
Well, we will monitor this, and if it does become problematic, we could always modify our practice.
But I also would like to add, there's several boards that are doing this already in our
Yeah,
city.
who are they? Which ones?
So I can't say off the top of my head. I know that when I was investigating this, I just searched board meeting, and several boards came up. Some in California, some in other states, and they have their board meetings that are recorded, and then they upload them from their district site. And some of them are uploaded by members of the public who come and video or borrow the DVD and upload it.
So it's absolutely no cost to them at all then, probably. That's what we were trying to do before, and we had landed here.
All right.
I'd like to add. I know Daly City Council already uploads there via web, but this is a free service, so it's even better.
That's true.
Probably the pay service is better, but it's free. So if this does take off and there are additional features we might want, we could always go to a paid service.
What you showed tonight, that wasn't YouTube.
Yes, it was.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
So you sent one to YouTube and did it already?
Yeah, we have a little private account that we set up.
Oh,
that can only be accessed by us with our link, and then.
Okay. Oh, all right. I guess
Great.
I'll have to get all dressed up all the time now.
Well, we're already on TV.
No, I'm only kidding. I'm
All
only
right.
kidding.
So number 2 says none for curriculum and instruction. But did you want to mention anything about the professional development the other night, or?
It's not on the agenda, so.
At
All right.
the end, he can say it.
All right. So let me move on along.
All the way down to board
We're done.
policies.
Board policies.
Oh, there's nothing else. That's right. We're all out of time.
We have 2 board policies here. These are board policies that we need to update because issues have come up or questions have come up that we felt needed clarifying. The first one is Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 6153, school-sponsored trips. And this one, what we needed to specify and make clear was that we needed at least an administrative regulation that we, as a district, want at least 2 adults to accompany a class, at least 2, but certainly as many as are needed for the safety of the students, and that one of those adults needs to be the regular classroom teacher.
I just wanted to...
So that's common sense, but it wasn't specified, and so we just wanted to make sure that it was specified and clear.
And I agree with that. I just was wondering if it was better to include per class, because sometimes you get 2 classes going together, that you'd want 4.
Yeah, well, sometimes when we have
It actually states
7th
that
graders,
it's per class.
Yeah, when we have, and also
Not in
when
this one
when you have
sentence.
7th graders, you can maybe take 60 students and 2 adults, because they're 7th graders, they're used to walking around anyway, and the other adult is there in case that there's an emergency and one adult needs to handle all of them. But that's why we put as appropriate by age, so that in a preschool setting, you might want to have more than 2 adults. And that's, that's what we ask teachers and
But I
principals
still
to.
think that when the number increases and
Yeah, I was-
it's double, we should have double.
I was going to say, ask if we want to make some guidelines for how many,
Yes.
the student
The ratio.
to adult ratio.
Yeah.
I'll say that this is on here because it came up. I was working at the library one day a few weeks ago, and a teacher came in from one of our schools with 18 students by herself. The fact that she had also failed to notify the library she was arriving was a separate issue. But we all felt that that was not appropriate, that no teacher should be out wandering the city with 18 students and no other adult. So one of the things, one of my coworkers works with the Girl Scouts. She pointed out that in the Girl Scouts, they have a very strict regulation. You have 1 adult for every 8 students or 8 children. That may be a little too strict, but
it really is important, and I know we've had to deal with that in the past, not just schools, but other activities with children, because if there's an emergency with 1 child and you have to attend to them,
Right.
you don't have 2 more arms and 2 more legs.
Right.
And another head to watch the rest of them.
Well, that, of course, is why,
Yeah.
yes, one teacher can keep track of 18 fifth graders, but...
not an emergency.
But, yeah, in the event of an emergency, you have to have at least a 2nd adult. But the only question I had about this and the way we've modified this is if we actually need to specify ratios as opposed to leaving it to common sense, because I've kind of had this momentary proof that common sense doesn't always quite cut it.
I could, if
that's a great point.
if it's the board's desire, I can come back for the 2nd reading with some recommended ratios for the different age spans.
I would prefer that.
It says, but listen, the board policy reads, the ratio of adults to students on school-sponsored trips shall be at least sufficient to ensure the safety of students at the different ages, but at least 2 adults per field trip.
Right.
At least, but then in the administrative regulations, it says teachers and other certificated personnel, at least 2 chaperones per class.
Right.
One of which shall be the regular classroom teacher, shall accompany the students and assume responsibility for the proper conduct.
Right.
So that's at least 2. So that's the minimum.
But that still raises the
But
question,
it
are
says
2 adults enough for 34 4th graders?
Well, if that's the case, then it needs to come back.
Yeah, we need to take some time and let Mr. Vidalis come back with a recommendation for ratios, because even if we have a minimum of 2 per class, then that gives us a 15-to-1 ratio about.
I have
minimum.
another one I got to say. Can we tell
Is this about-
Mr. Vidalis about all the things so he knows what we want him to do? Under what was just read now by Mr. Hanson says that teachers or other certificated personnel, at least 2 chaperones per class, one of which shall be a regular classroom teacher. I would say that there may be a time that a regular teacher may be absent, and there'll be a substitute. And if it's all right with the principal that the substitute takes the children, why were we just saying the regular classroom teacher?
So should it be? Should it actually be a certificated person?
A certificated teacher or person, whatever. Because I would hate to see it canceled.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing I notice is when you see teachers or other certificated personnel, and then parentheses, at least 2 chaperones per class, does that mean? That means that those are the 2 chaperones and nobody else.
No, at least 2. It's at least 2.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not completely clear that
It's not clear.
all the chaperones have to be certificated person. You know, the parent.
It doesn't include if there's.
We can clarify that.
Yeah.
So it would be nice. It could be mandatory that 2 need to be there, and then. And then up to their decision if they want to. But I think it's got to say.
We've had numerous field trips.
Yeah.
And so how many adults usually go along?
We don't know. It'd be nice to find out.
When my boys went on, there was a lot of adults.
Oh, a lot of parents.
There often are a lot of them.
But sometimes
Right.
you just never know, depending on the
Right.
class and the school.
So what I want to say is between the board policy and the administrative regulations, it's a little more clear in the regulations, saying per class. Because if you have a field trip that has more than 1 class, and you're up to 60 students, and you look at the first one, it sounds like you only need 2 people on that trip. So I just would like to make sure that
We can take care of that.
Yeah.
for the
Thank you.
second reading.
And perhaps you and Ms. McCulick could decide what would be reasonable numbers of chaperones at different ages.
All right, we have 2 speaker cards on this, so I'll call Liz O'Neill first.
Hello. I'll be quick, but just when you're considering this, to please take into consideration not to put too many restrictions on classroom teachers. Some field trips only allow a certain amount of children and adults in. If you're going to a performance of some sort, you have a limit of how many people can get in. Also, I understand your concern with 1 teacher. That should never happen, but I think this putting too many restrictions is going the other way. The sites themselves, I think that the administration should be really ensuring that those classes are safe. And field trips are already a hard enough thing to plan for a teacher. It takes a lot of effort, time, a lot of effort, but it's very worthwhile for the students. So please just be careful. Yes, we want to ensure their safety, but let's not make it so restrictive that we just say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Okay.
I got you.
Thank you.
Right.
Also, we need to investigate what we're required to do by state law, because I know there's racial requirements in the classroom.
There are for preschool, but not so much for K-12.
All right.
Really?
All right.
Well, gee, once they're 5, they're responsible enough to be out on their own.
All right. Melinda Dart.
Yes. Thank you, Melinda Dart, AFT. Yes, I would also urge you to be careful with this, because field trips are valuable and they are very difficult to plan, and things do happen. I'm glad you mentioned the thing about the classroom teacher. Teachers get sick the night before they have the field trip. Another teacher might be taking the whole group, and there are parents going also. It might be scheduled, say, to Marine Science Institute, where I once had a big group of kids, and I had parents helping me, but their regular teacher of 1 class was ill. I did not want to cancel that trip. We had paid for it, and we had adults there, but it needed to still happen. Buses are extremely expensive. If you have them booked, you need to use them. Also, buses are very limited. You can't have, the adults have to drive separately, and depending what school you're at, it may be difficult to get parents who drive themselves there. And so that becomes difficult. And as far as the teacher coming in with 18 kids, if it was walking and if it was not far, then I would agree it'd be better to have somebody there at the end of that line. But 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 I have seen groups of children behave perfectly under many situations because they've been prepped for that by the teacher, and we just need to be difficult, or we need to be careful. Difficult, that's somebody else's job. We need to be careful not to make it too difficult. The other problem with middle school is it gets harder to recruit parents the older the kids are. And so, it's hard sometimes to find enough parents to go. I would just hate to see it so restrictive that it's harder to take trips. Thanks.
Thank you. Those are valid concerns.
It sounds like to me that we obviously we all need some type of minimum, supervision, or that we all want that, but it's clear that we need some flexibility.
Yeah. So we'll explore different ways of this, and if Miss O'Neill, or Miss Dart, if you can give us what some of those restrictions on some field trips you've had,
right?
That would be great. We can take that into consideration.
Sure.
So the other board policy that we have is an issue that's come up several times as well, and this is about conferences and trips. The previous board policy did not allow for school reimbursement or department reimbursement for any meals that participants had to pay for on their own when they were on a district-sponsored professional development. Oftentimes the multiple day ones do include meals, but oftentimes the single days do not. And so we thought we would, when the meal is not included as part of the registration, that the school or department sending individuals on the professional development experience should also compensate employees and other participants for meals that were purchased as part of that experience because it wasn't provided. And then also around the issue of parking, many times you do need to park your car somewhere, and it is far enough away, and we just decided that we would keep a range in there that would be reimbursable, because those were two items that were not present in these policies in the past.
All right. I just have one question about that. Do we know why it wasn't included in the past?
It wasn't part of the recommended policy, and so as we started implementing it, questions over the last couple of years have kept coming up about it. It's like, we may just need to add it to our policy instead of saying it's not there.
All right.
At one time it was covered, and I don't know what happened. Someone changed
Well,
it.
I'm glad that it's coming back around.
Yeah.
So need the straightforward on this one, huh? All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'd like to move that we accept AR 3350.3 travel conference guidelines, and I believe that the BB 9240 board development goes along with that one. I would like to move that we accept those for the first reading.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Does that also include the board policy in AR 6153 for school-sponsored trips?
Oh, that's a good point.
Gee,
Because we can take that for a first reading, but we want changes for the second reading, I guess.
Well, your motion on the last motion you made,
Was just
it
the
was
other
just
two.
to just to accept the first one.
No, it was just to accept the second one, the travel, the conference guidelines.
Oh, okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. All right. You did it backwards. I'm sorry.
Do we want to make a separate
Yes.
motion? All right.
Yes.
Yeah, to accept.
So then I'll make the motion for accepting. Well, let me make sure I read it correctly here. Board policy and administrative regulations 6153 school sponsored trips, and that we're approving it for first reading and directing the administration to bring back some suggestions on changing it.
Okay, second.
For our comments.
Okay, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Reports from board representatives on district committees.
Yes, the Wellness Committee met on Monday, and I don't have my notes, but just to report, we received a presentation on a nutrition regulation. Who was that? That was Berkeley Extension, was that? UCSF. See, I knew I was going to get it wrong since I didn't write that down. To model for us and demonstrate their nutrition curriculum, which I believe that the committee will be taking back to the AC. Was there any other? I was late to that meeting as well. Was there other business before that? Okay, so that was really the bulk of the business from that. We are working on a safety pamphlet, information for what to do in all sorts of emergencies, that will be available to every classroom when we're finished with it.
Great. No other committee meetings?
We do have something on the parent involvement, PIAC, and it's the committee's developed a parental involvement activities suggestions for each school, and kind of where it's a list of like different things like math night, literacy night, art night, science night, different things that they can do in their schools, game night, parent education night, which I hope we get to do a lot of those, international day or night potluck dinners and dad's night out, different suggestions that came up in discussion, and giving them a website to go to where it tells you how to do it and what to do and what you need to kind of help some of the groups get it done together, you know. So it's up to the school to, through their PTAs and what have you, to organize that. Did I say it okay? You
yes, we're actually, it's still in draft form right now, and so we'll be actually the principal Ben.
When you gave it to me.
It was just so that you could review it, actually. So, principal.
Well, anyway, we're working on all this, guys. And we'll be done. When we're done, we'll give you the finished copy.
We'll make a presentation at the May 7th board meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Great.
So just letting you know what we are doing. Thank you, Sandy.
All right. So if there's no more committee reports.
Oh, I should ask you, do we have a meeting with the high school district yet? No?
It's being scheduled.
Before school's out?
Probably after school's out.
Really?
Yeah.
We've done nothing this whole time. Oh.
We can still communicate with them.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in communication with the high school district.
Yeah, okay.
We'll talk about it. All right, comments from any board member? Mr. Hanson? Nope. Dr. Douglas?
Well, I just want to say that I came late because I was attending the band concert at Fernando Rivera with the Fernando students and the 4 grade schools that Mr. Eastburn teaches as well, and it was really nice. And it is really impressive to see how much they learn over the years. And I'm just amazed at how much those beginning grade school bands learn doing about 30 minutes once a week. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they can even find which end of the instrument with that kind of schedule is huge. The fact that they can produce recognizable melodies is great. So.
All right, great. Ms. Brizuela?
No, I think I said everything in the beginning.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Otidy.
Couple of updates. Last meeting I told you I was going to go to the California Democratic Convention to basically see if I could solicit for more funds for our schools. Though I have no promises, I do have a meeting with the state superintendent, and I also have a meeting with San Francisco school board to see how we could work together to get more resources, services, or work cooperatively to get some more for our students. Also, I'll be in Washington, D.C. in a couple of weeks with the API conference, also soliciting how I could get more funds and more resources to our students and to our teachers and to our staff and to our district for an improvement of our district. And also, tomorrow here in this building is the business-to-business Taste of Our Cities, brought to you by the Daly City Colma Chamber of Commerce from 4:30 to 8:30. Everyone is welcomed. Come on down.
All right, thanks. Let's see. First of all, I just want to acknowledge that, I want to send out positive energy and prayers for the people in Boston for what they are going through. And I was reminded of it because I was substitute teaching in Pacifica, and we had a lockdown drill. So that was first time I've ever been through that. I've done earthquake drills and other drills, but never a lockdown drill. And also, Ben Franklin is having a band concert, I believe, tomorrow night. And I will not be able to attend, so hopefully people in this room will attend.
Oh, yeah.
And thanks, Mr. Otidy, for advocating for the district in Sacramento. And I'm looking forward to what you can get accomplished out in Washington, D.C. as well.
No promises, but I'm going to try my best.
All right, that's all we can do. And thanks for all the teachers, administrators that are here tonight. Congratulations. I know we're kind of all over the place with the reputation of the district, the prestige, whatever emotions people have, but the fact still remains, I love being on this school board and being in this community and working to help provide provide a high-quality education for our students. And with that, we don't have any speaker cards. Oh, well, he left.
Sorry, I kind of wrote both my things on one card.
Oh, that's
I would
true.
like
Sorry,
to speak
yeah.
just briefly.
Peer mediation, yes.
Sorry.
So I will call Melinda Dart.
Melinda Dart, AFT 3267. I did want to announce that I did attend a workshop called Bullies Tear Down, Friends Build Up on March 30th, and Mr. Shakil Ali was the featured speaker. It was a great conference. It brought up the subject of cyberbullying, which is a new world that unfortunately we all have to know something about. And it made me glad about the programs we already have going in our schools, the restorative justice at Fernando Rivera and the peer mediation at TRP. And I feel like we're going in the right direction with these things, but we need to make sure that we keep on top of it. And it also made me realize or think about the idea of workplace bullying and the fact that we need to stay on top of that, because I hear sometimes about people feeling bullied at work or intimidated by situations at work. Thanks.
All right. So, Ms. Dar, you just reminded me that I actually spoke as well at the Parent Education Night last week at Ben Franklin Middle School. And the focus that evening was cyberbullying and what parents and caregivers can do to protect our youth from cyberbullying. All right.
I didn't speak, but I'll make one comment.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to say, I know we heard a lot tonight about our teachers and the reputation of the school, but I have to say that I hear good things. And one thing I do know that we have good teachers, and we have wonderful programs and wonderful families, and what we really just need is more money to make everything work. And if not, we need to look for some ways of bringing partnerships in to help us do what we really need to do so that everybody's really, really proud to be here. Because we don't want to lose. We have good teachers. I don't want anyone to think out there that we don't have good teachers because we're not paying. You guys are still working as hard as you can, even if we're not giving the raises that we should give because we don't have the money. But we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Thanks. So at this time, we will convene to close. Oh.
Yeah. Well, why don't you go ahead and mention the names of the individuals that we would be closing in when we adjourn at the end? So I think I have them here. Elio Fontana.
Yes.
Paul Huff and Leo Pedretti.
Yes.
All right.
So if you would just mention those names, and then when we adjourn at the end, we can just adjourn.
All right. I'll let Ms. Brizuela go ahead and do that.
Oh, well, I guess what, take a moment of silence? Is that how you do it then? To close in memory of Elio Fontana, Leo Pedretti, and Paul Huff. Okay.
So we can recess now.
Yeah.
All right, so now we'll take a
5-minute recess.
10-minute recess.
Oh, that's right. We have a closed
What's
session.
on here says
Oh, I forgot. We're getting